or welcome back to my channel. So audience retention has been the biggest pain in my butt since literally the day I learned what that word even means. I would literally put my blood, sweat, and tears into my videos and get like no retention. I'd have retention rates of like 10%, 15%, maybe 20% if I was lucky, which is no bueno. Because as I said before, audience retention is the #1 metric the algorithm is looking at to decide whether or not to boost your video. A higher retention means YouTube boosts your video. A lower retention means YouTube does not boost your video. So by having a lower retention, my videos were not doing well. So I poured myself into endless amounts of research and trial and error, literally trying every single trick in the book to get higher retention rates and boost my videos. And I think it is finally working because in my last few videos, I've had audience retention rates of 50%, 45%, 60%, 37%, which are much higher than ever before. So I decided to sit down today in this video and basically share with you guys all the tips and tricks and methods I've been using to accomplish this so you guys can do the same thing for your videos, get more attention on your videos, and get more watch time. Now before we jump into today's video, here are this video's shoutouts. If you guys want to be the next shoutout in my next video, go down to my description box and find out how, because I love to reward my most active subscribers. And if you guys were not already aware, I've just recently started a new Facebook group where I can basically talk to you guys, give you more one-on-one advice. You guys can talk to each other and basically just grow your channels together. So be sure to go down to my description box and find that down there too so you guys can join in the fun. And now I think that is now just enough rambling, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video and let's jump right into it. So tip number 1, can you make it? The second you finish editing your video, put aside your phone, turn away every single other distraction around you, and watch your video from beginning to end. If at any point while watching your video, you find yourself kind of like nodding off or reaching for your phone or thinking or daydreaming about literally anything else, then your video is not engaging enough for you. And if your video is not engaging you, it's not going to engage anybody else. So you have to watch your video over and over and over again and change things until your video is able to keep you hooked all the way through. And ever since I started doing this on my videos, I've been getting much higher audience retention. So that is one tip I definitely suggest for you. Tip number 2, start them off with a hook. No joke, if your video does not hook the viewer in the first 10 seconds of your video, they're gone. You have to hook your viewers from the very beginning of your video or there's just not going to be any retention. And sorry to be blunt, but your viewers do not want to hear your life story. Because to be honest, most viewers don't know nor care who you are or what your story is. They're just here for your content. So when you are starting off your videos, hook them from the beginning. This is what the video is going to be. This is what it's going to give you. This is what it's going to do for you. And get them wanting to watch it from the beginning. If you get your viewer hooked from the get-go of your video, there's a much higher chance of them watching the entire way through, or at least a very good portion of your video. Tip number 3, compare drop-off points. This is one I neglected for so long and it is so important. Within your YouTube analytics, if you look at the analytics of each one of your videos, you can see the audience retention of each video. Underneath the audience retention gives you a graph of where people are watching your video and where they are dropping off. So if you see on your graph that, let's say 2 minutes and 3 seconds of your video, 55% of people are clicking off of your video, that tells you that something at that point is turning them away from your video. So watch your video at that point. Figure out what is happening at that exact second to make 55% of people click off of your video. Are you talking for too long? Are your videos lacking visual appeal? Is your audio not the best? Are your visuals very dark and grainy? Figure out in every one of your videos what is happening when your audience is dropping off and fix those things. Once you figure out what viewers don't want to see, you can then figure out what they want to see and do more of what they want and less of what they don't want, which in turn will help you to get much better retention. Use a script or an outline. I cannot preach the importance of this enough. Before I actually started having outlines or plans for my videos, I would talk off on tangents. I would tell 10 million stories nobody wants to hear. I made my videos so long and so boring to watch, and my audience retention suffered for it. Ever since I've started to plan and outline my videos, I'm consistently all the way through my video keeping myself on track, keeping myself on point, hitting everything I want to mention, leaving out everything I don't want to mention. This makes my videos more value-packed, makes them have less fluff, makes them more organized and easier to watch all the way through, or at least a good portion of it. Now, obviously, this does not work for every single video. Most vlogs are not going to have a plan, but if your video is a tutorial or a walkthrough or an advice video, even a story time, having your videos outlined with talking points and subpoints is going to help you to keep your video much more organized and more on track and keep your viewers hooked longer. Because if there is a value consistently all the way through your video and a reason all the way through to keep watching, people will keep watching. The second you drop off that value and your videos get more boring and less value packed, that's when people have less of a reason to watch you and click off of your video. So having plans and outlines for me are crucial to higher audience retention. Add open loops, aka end cards. Ever watched a show like Game of Thrones and found it almost impossible to watch only one episode and you end up watching like 20 episodes in one sitting? You want to do the exact same thing with your videos. Little known fact, audience retention is not limited to just your videos. Another part of audience retention is how long you keep people on your channel and keep them on YouTube. YouTube's #1 goal is to keep people on their platform as long as possible to make as much money as possible. If your videos are keeping people on your channel, keeping them on YouTube, you are helping YouTube with their #1 goal, and the algorithm will love you for it. And by having end cards at the end of every one of your videos, you make it much easier for your viewers to jump from video to video to video and stay on your videos and your channel and YouTube much longer, which is going to up your audience retention, make YouTube boost you further, and get you more views, more watch time, and more potential subscribers. So definitely taking the 2 seconds it takes to add end cards to your videos when you're uploading them to YouTube is going to benefit you so much in the long run. My next tip is add visuals. This is so crucial. I get comments and compliments and questions all the time about my transitions and my text and my overlays and my graphics on screen because those graphics are capturing people's attention. If you have nothing happening on screen and people are forced to just stare at the middle of your video the entire time and just stare at you, they're going to end up staring off into the distance and completely forget what you're talking about and lose interest in your video. By having visuals consistently popping up on screen, keeping the viewer's eyes active and engaged, you're going to have a much better chance at higher retention. So try to do everything in your power with B-roll, overlays, text, transitions, anything possible to keep your viewers' eyes engaged on your video and actively watching your video. Visuals are so important and so overlooked. And finally, the big guy, the #1 tip I have for audience retention, add value, subtract fluff. There are so many times that I will film a video and then once I go to edit it, I realize that I talked about something for like 3 minutes and didn't have to, or realize that a point I talked about for 1 minute and 30 seconds could have been 45 seconds. Anywhere in your editing that you can cut out unnecessary footage and keep your video more organized and clean is going to benefit you. So as you're sitting down and editing your video, doing the rough cut of your video, ask yourself this very important question. With every single clip you are watching in your video, ask yourself, does my viewer need to see this? Does my viewer need to hear this? If the answer is no, chances are they don't want to hear it either. So as you're editing your video, cut out everything you don't think they need or want to hear and keep only the value-packed things that are absolutely necessary to your video. This could be something as simple as editing a what I eat in a day video, and instead of having the camera focus on you cutting up an apple for 20 seconds, it could be 10 seconds, even 5 seconds, which goes right back into being able to watch your entire video beginning to end. If you find yourself nodding off or getting bored or asking yourself to wrap up the question or wrap up the point, your audience will do the same thing. So that is my #1 tip for editing as far as getting a better retention is concerned. So that, you guys, is it for today's video. That is everything I had to say and all of my advice on getting a better, higher audience retention. Hopefully, if this is something you've been very much struggling with, then hopefully this video was helpful to you and gave you a few new things to consider. Thank you guys so much for watching. Love you all to the moon and back, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!